Hello, good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing today? I am Latasha, and I have been here talking about my article series called From Holy to Whole Mind, Body, and Soul. And in this series, we are discussing different pieces of steps that you take to become whole. And so, the first thing I want to start off doing today is going over uh, some of these cards to be able to encourage you guys the way I am encouraged. And I have been encouraging myself and speaking good things within myself and using words of affirmations with these cards. And these are called God Thought cards. And they are from a lady named Stacy James. And the artwork is done by someone named Zachariah Soulsby. Okay. And I thought that it would be awesome if I could share with you a card every time I speak on just words of encouragement. And so today, let's see what the first one is. Today we're talking about acceptance. And the first card, I think I'll go over this one because it's real fitting to what we're talking about today. And so this is the card. This is what it looks like. And this is the card for today. And it says, I accept myself. I do not need the approval of others to appreciate why I am magnificent. I will walk in my unique confidence today, knowing I am already approved. And then on the back, it gives you a scripture. And the scripture for today is, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your words are wonderful. I know that full well. Psalms 139 and 14. And so, the last talk, we spoke about the topic of acknowledgement and how that plays a vital role in healing, the healing process. And I talked about how I was searching for love in all the wrong places. I was searching for it in food. I was searching for it in males. I talked about my tarnished relationships with people, how I was and then I spoke on the first step, which was acknowledgement, and how healing brokenness, we have to be acknowledged that we're even broken. So today, we're going to focus on acceptance and how that is so critical for growth. And so today, the title of my talk is It Is What It Is. In 2003, I had moved back to Omaha to attend my second year of college. And in September of 2003, I was diagnosed with a blood clot on my brain. I had a mini stroke. And throughout that process, I ended up missing a lot of school. And from me missing so much school, I ended up failing one of my classes. With all those things and all those parts, the medical issues and just all those different things, already searching for love and looking for to be heard and understood, and wanting to feel valued because I didn't really understand or recognize my worth and who I was. I um still was in a place of brokenness. And I remember once during that time just adding that up of my failing a class to I contributed that me failing, and I associated that with me just being a failure in life, and the my tarnished relationships, and why can't someone love me, not really realizing that, hey, I don't really even love myself, but it was other people like not loving me. They didn't understand me. I felt unheard, like I didn't have a voice. And I remember just being so depressed, in a state of depression, and just laying in bed for like almost a week, and everybody was trying to just get me out of it. And I feel like that was the time, because after that year in 2004, I ended up moving to Indianapolis. And I was searching for that love that I felt like I was not getting. And I was searching for someone who would understand me. And I was in a vulnerable state. And that's when I got into this relationship. And this relationship changed my life. And not just for the worse, but kind of for the better also, because it brought me to a place of understanding of where I could eventually now be able to become whole and learn how to love myself and go through that process. So with this relationship, he was very physically abusive, mentally abusive, emotionally abusive. And I stayed in this for almost 2 years until I was just like, I have had enough. I can't deal with it anymore. I don't want to go through this anymore. And so at that point, I decided to leave. And I decided to go, come back to Nebraska. And when I in the process of leaving, if you read my article, I just talk about how he found out eventually, that I was leaving, and he showed up. And another thing is very important. That's why it's critical to watch the company that you keep and who you share things with, because everyone is not invested in you and the best for you. And so when I got back after going through that traumatizing situation, I remember being at my apartment, and I just was really thinking. I acknowledged everything that had happened, but now it was time for me to really come to a place of acceptance. And I said I loved this person, right? But I really just didn't even truly know how to love myself. And so even though I had moved back to Nebraska, his words were just so manipulating, and of I can, and me being in that state of not really understanding and knowing love, I found myself traveling back and forth with it through that year, just because my mind said that no, you don't deserve that, but my heart was saying, oh, you love him. And so I was going back and forth to Indianapolis to be by someone who really did not have my best interest at heart and did not love me. And I could not recognize that because I did not love myself. And so throughout this process, I am just going through all these motions and still feeling hurt and incomplete and not worthy and not good enough. I felt disgusting. I felt so sad and alone. I felt so broken. And I remember the day that I finally made the decision to change my number. And to me, that was the beginning of my journey, and it was my step towards going forward, moving forward, and saying, you know what, I don't deserve to be treated this way. So it was the beginning of my journey for healing and growth. I learned that acceptance is not always a happy phase. It made me feel empty because I felt like, what now? Like, where do I go? Like, I felt stupid. People told me, people said these things, but until you're in a situation, no one really can ever tell you anything, And so I just felt alone, and I didn't know really where to start, but I knew and I was determined that I was going to start. And so that process of me changing my number to me was a fresh start. And so acceptance is where faith develops and growth follows. And so when I say that, I'm saying that acceptance requires that we develop more self compassion. So knowing and that I'm worthy, knowing that I mean something, knowing that I deserve to be valued and to be loved the right way, the way that God intended us to be loved. So with that, that experience motivated me to begin the path of learning how to truly love myself and care for me. And so I decided that's where I began to break old behaviors and start to change. And so I accepted that I could not change or control the situations that I had been in, but I instead was able to look inside and change myself and my expectations. So these situations would not continue and it wouldn't become a cycle. So, some key takeaways that I want to give you guys today for the topic of acceptance is acceptance is a choice to not force a change upon a situation, but to look inside and change yourself and the expectations that you have for you. That's very important. It's vital because we can't change anyone. All we can do is change ourselves. No one can make you do anything, or no one can make you feel a certain way. So you can't go and say, you made me feel. Well, but you can say, I feel because of something. And so acceptance is also where you are able to look at a glass half full instead of a glass half empty. What are your visions? What do you see? How are you accepting the things that are going on and saying, you know what, this is my part that I played in this, and this is what I need to do in order to change, to make it into a different situation. So you changing your perception to say that the trials that you're going through is really a blessing in disguise, because then you'll be able to share your story and your testimony in the future with someone else who really might need it. Number 3, acceptance is where you come to terms with what you have been through and the part that you played in it, but you still choose to progress and move forward, coming out of those situations. And so we're always on a path moving forward. Regardless of the things that happen in our life, we always want to continue moving forward. And we do this by acceptance. Number 4 is to discern when you need to fight a battle and when you need to find peace for what it is. So sometimes We don't need, the battle is not ours to fight. Sometimes we just need to really let go and let God. So I hope that you received something from this. This is just my journey, my story of little tidbits of things that I did in order to go through that process and make that change for myself. And hopefully it can bless other people to make the same change. If you have any comments or questions, please do not hesitate to write me, and I will answer each and every single one of your questions. Thank you. Have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.